Have you ever lied? Of course you have. Maybe it was something small. I'll be there in 5 minutes. When you knew it would be 20. Maybe you told someone you liked their gift, even though you didn't. Maybe you said, I'm fine, when you weren't. Most lies are harmless. Some are helpful. Some are selfish. And some change history. But have you ever stopped and wondered about something strange? Who was the first human to tell a lie? Not the biggest lie. Not the most famous lie. The very first one. The first moment in human history when one person deliberately said something false. And another person believed it. It's a difficult question, because lies don't leave fossils. Archaeologists can find bones, tools, weapons, ancient campsites, but nobody can dig up a lie buried in the ground, so we'll probably never know exactly who did it. But we can ask something even more interesting. When did humans become capable of lying? Because for most animals, lying is surprisingly difficult. A wolf can growl, a cat can hiss, a bird can warn others of danger, but true deception requires something special. You must know the truth, understand what another individual believes, and then intentionally manipulate that belief. That is not a simple skill. It requires a remarkably powerful brain. Think about what happens when you lie. Before you even open your mouth, your brain performs several calculations. What do I know? What does the other person know? What do I want them to believe? Will they trust me? Can I keep the story consistent? In other words, lying requires imagination. You must create an alternative version of reality, and then convince someone else that it is real. That ability may be one of the most important cognitive breakthroughs in human history. Ironically, the same mental abilities that allow humans to lie also allow humans to cooperate, to plan, to teach, to tell stories, to create civilizations. The brain doesn't have a special lying department. The same machinery that helps you understand another person's thoughts can also help you deceive them. Scientists call this ability theory of mind. It means recognizing that other people have minds separate from your own. They have beliefs, knowledge, memories, intentions, and sometimes those beliefs can be wrong. Once a human understands that another person's beliefs can be different from reality, lying becomes possible. Imagine an ancient child thousands of years ago. Perhaps the child secretly ate food that was supposed to be shared. A parent notices. The parent asks a question, and suddenly the child faces a choice. Tell the truth, or blame someone else. That moment may seem small, but it represents something extraordinary. The child isn't simply hiding information. The child is attempting to alter another person's understanding of reality. That is a sophisticated psychological skill, and it likely appeared very early in human evolution. In fact, researchers believe that even young children begin experimenting with deception at surprisingly early ages. Not because children are evil, but because deception is evidence of growing intelligence. A toddler who successfully lies has demonstrated something remarkable. They understand that another person does not know everything they know, and that realization changes everything. But humans may not have been the first creatures to discover deception. Nature itself is full of liars. Some insects pretend to be leaves. Some harmless snakes imitate dangerous species. Certain animals fake injuries to lure predators away from their young. Even monkeys have been observed giving false alarm calls. Imagine a monkey finding food. If others arrive, the monkey must share. But if the monkey makes a false warning call, the group runs away, and the monkey gets the food alone. That isn't language-based lying, but it is deception. And deception has existed for millions of years, long before humans appeared. What humans added was something far more powerful. Language, because language allows deception to escape the present moment. You can lie about the past. You can lie about the future. You can lie about things that never happened at all. And suddenly deception becomes almost unlimited. The first human liar probably didn't realize they were making history. They were probably trying to avoid trouble, avoid punishment, gain resources, or impress someone. A very ordinary human motive, but from that moment onward, human society would never be quite the same again. But here's the strange thing. If lying became possible, why didn't human society collapse? Think about it. If everyone lied all the time, nobody would trust anyone. Promises would become meaningless. Warnings would become useless. Cooperation would break down. Civilization itself would struggle to exist. Yet the opposite happened. Humans became the most cooperative species on Earth. So what changed? The answer is surprisingly simple. Humans didn't just evolve the ability to lie. They also evolved the ability to detect lies. The moment deception appeared, an evolutionary arms race began. Imagine two ancient humans. One becomes slightly better at deception. They gain food, resources, status. Perhaps they even increase their chances of survival. But now everyone around them faces a problem. If they can't detect deception, they become vulnerable. So individuals who are better at spotting lies gain an advantage. And then liars must become even better. and then lie detectors must improve again. Back and forth, generation after generation, for thousands of years, perhaps millions. The result is the human social brain, a brain constantly analyzing other people, watching faces, reading body language, listening to tone of voice, looking for inconsistencies, searching for clues. Even today, you do this automatically when someone hesitates before answering. You notice when a story suddenly changes. You notice when behavior doesn't match words. You notice. Most of the time, you aren't even aware you're doing it. Your brain is running ancient software. Software designed to answer one question: can this person be trusted? Trust became one of humanity's most valuable resources. In fact, trust may be more important than money, more important than technology, more important than weapons, because every human achievement depends on it. You trust that drivers will stop at red lights. You trust that food isn't poisoned. You trust that airplanes were built correctly. You trust that information from other people is mostly accurate. Without trust, modern life becomes impossible. And that's why something unexpected happened. The more powerful lying became, the more valuable honesty became. People who earned trust gained enormous advantages. Others wanted to cooperate with them, trade with them, work with them, follow them. Trust became social currency, and reputations began to matter. Suddenly, a lie wasn't just a tool, it was a risk. If you were caught lying repeatedly, people remembered. They became less willing to help you, less willing to believe you, less willing to cooperate. For the first time in history, truth and deception were competing against each other, and neither side could fully win. Because humans needed both. That sounds strange, but think about it. A world with only lies collapses. A world with absolutely no deception is surprisingly difficult too. Sometimes people hide information to protect others. Sometimes diplomacy requires careful wording. Sometimes social relationships survive because people soften the truth. Human communication exists in a complicated middle ground. Not pure honesty, not pure deception, something in between. And that balance helped build civilization. In fact, some scientists believe that deception itself may have pushed human intelligence forward. Every time a liar invented a better lie, others had to become better at detecting it. Every improvement on one side forced improvement on the other, like an endless chess match over thousands of generations. The result was larger social groups, more sophisticated communication, more advanced thinking, and eventually, modern humans, which leads to an uncomfortable possibility. What if lying wasn't simply a flaw? What if it was a side effect of one of humanity's greatest strengths? Because the ability to lie comes from the same place as imagination, the same place as creativity, the same place as storytelling, the same place as planning the future. To tell a lie, you must imagine a reality that does not exist. But that exact ability also allows humans to invent tools, create art, write books, design cities, explore space. The brain that created deception also created civilization. And that's what makes the story of the first lie so fascinating. The first human liar probably wasn't trying to change history. They weren't trying to reshape evolution. They were probably trying to avoid trouble, or gain an advantage, or impress someone. A very ordinary moment, a very human moment, yet hidden inside that moment was something extraordinary. A mind capable of imagining realities that didn't exist. And once that ability appeared, human history changed forever. So who was the first human to tell a lie? We will probably never know. But somewhere in the distant past, one human looked another human in the eye, said something they knew wasn't true, and discovered a power that would shape the future of our species. A power still used every single day. By politicians, by salespeople, by storytellers, by children, by friends, by strangers, and sometimes by you. Because the history of lying is not really the story of deception. It's the story of imagination. And imagination may be the most human thing of all.